My typical day starts out with calling every last one of my patients every day. They always tell me, well, we don't know if you have 5 patients or 10 patients to see when you get here, because whenever you're here, it's all about me. I said, that's how it's supposed to be. That gives me more inspiration to get up every day, because my daily prayer is to brighten and lighten somebody's burden every day. And if I can do that, then my day is complete.
Our patients typically will have them for several days, and it's an experience to go from the first day when you meet them, and that's often their first day at home place, and then to kind of go from day to day through their journey, and you can develop some real closeness there and provide them with some closeness.
Our goal is to help meet those needs they have, and not just the physical, but the social, the emotional, the spiritual issues, to try to meet all those needs. And I enjoy that, because sometimes you can meet the physical. We're always targeting the physical. However, that may only be 25% of the problem. And here you try to deal with all those different issues.
When you come into the building, you feel the peace and you feel the sincere care that's being shown and given by everyone, from the chaplains, social workers, nurses, aides, and doctors. You know, our doctors will sit down and pray with the patients and the families, and then I'll come in the room and they'll say, did you know that doctor prayed with me? It's a very different environment.
I remember one especially that they lived out in the community of Gallatin, Texas, and upon admission it was assessed that the family would need a volunteer. So I rode out there and I talked. The patient was the husband, and the wife was there in the house alone trying to take care of him. So I sat down with her and started talking to her, and you know, what can we do for you? What can the volunteer do? And she said, what you're doing right now. She said, I have coffee about 3 o'clock every day, and I would just love for somebody to come once or twice a week to come and drink coffee with me. And I thought, okay, we can do that.
I got a Christmas card from the daughter of some patients that I had. I took care of both her mother and her father that died almost a year ago. And she still keeps in touch. She still sent me a Christmas card and said I was her blessing almost a year later. And you can't put a price tag on that.
I think I'd been with Hospice about 6 months, and I had set the equipment. Well, about a week later I come back and pick the equipment up. Well, the wife is sitting there in the chair, all the family's there. So I walk in, I'd say, how y'all doing? You know, and just kind of get a little conversation going. And then she said, have you ate yet? I said, no. I said, but my wife's got supper waiting. No, you're going to bring supper home. So before I walked out, there was 2 plates of food. That's caring. That's making a bond with a patient's family. That's where it's at.
If you say you work at Hospice of East Texas, people don't ask, well, what do you do there? They immediately go into, I had a loved one there, or my mom or my dad, and so they don't necessarily care what your position is. You're a part of an organization that touched them in a part of their life, and so they want to know about that and not necessarily what your day-to-day functions are.
I get that question asked a lot. I guess there's still times that very emotionally, the tears come to my eyes. It is hard, but it's so much more rewarding than it is hard that it counterbalances.
I drink and smoke. Yeah. I ride my bicycle to work. I walk my dog when I get off, but in the evenings I sit on the porch and drink wine and smoke cigars.
I had a hard time when people would say, you know, they would learn that I was a hospice nurse, and people would say, how could you do that? You know, that must be so difficult. And I fumbled around for probably a year trying to figure out how to respond to that question. And my response now is just that it's incredibly rewarding. I feel like what we do is so very, very important, and I feel incredibly privileged to be with people at such an intimate time. We have a front row seat for some of life's most dramatic, meaningful, poignant moments. And there's a lot of laughter and a lot of fun as well. It's not all sad or we couldn't bear it, but to be invited in by a family and by a patient into those intimate moments is an incredible honor, and it's an incredible responsibility that I take really seriously. And sure, it's hard, but what I get back is 10 times what I give.
I know a lot of people struggle and ask, you know, how do you do this? How do you do this every day? I don't know how I could do anything else every day. I mean, I've worked in the hospital for a very short time. This is just where I belong, and I cannot tell you to this day how ecstatic I was when I finally got the call. Are you still interested in the job? I could not say yes fast enough, and you can't just do this for a job. People don't do this for a paycheck. They do it and they stay here because it's who they are, and it defines me as a person that I'm a part of this.
My children ask me, Mom, how do you do this? And I look at it as I'm helping make a difference in someone's life. I always tell all my families and patients when I first meet them that I will treat you the way I want myself and my family to be treated. And that helps me get through it. We all know we're going to die someday, but this just kind of helps with the process. It makes it a peaceful death.
I've had a lot of patients say, I couldn't do your job. Well, my next response is, it's a passion. It comes from the heart. We all at hospice, we have a passion for what we're doing. To me, this has helped to understand what the process of the last days of life are. And it's been an asset to me. It really has.
Hospice is really all I can see myself doing. There's just something about helping these families get through this transition that's very, very rewarding, and helping them, and you become part of their families, and they trust you to be the one to call the shots and let them know that this is what's going on and this is what we expect, and it's very rewarding. It's a passion for me.
I think as far as initially coming to work here, I would say that, like most people, it starts off as a job opportunity. And then once you get here, it almost becomes a calling. And you would see that by the people who have been here for many, many years. They've been here a long time because they want to be here, they want to do what they do. And there's not any other place that's almost as fulfilling as what you do here, and the number of people that you touch in your job, whether it be from just the paperwork to the physical hands-on.
Sometimes people will hint, you know, well, how do you pay pretty well or something, and the way I look at that is I'm paid well for what I do, but there's no amount of money that could buy what I give.
I have always thought that it was a minority of the population that could actually say that they loved their jobs and enjoyed going to work, and I didn't think I'd ever find that, but now I have. I love my job. People say they can't imagine doing what I do. I can't imagine not doing it. I can't say enough. I love working for Hospice of East Texas. There were some changes in my life, and I just thank God every day that I was led to come over here. And I just love it. That's all I can say. I couldn't imagine working anywhere else, not even another hospice organization. From the board on down, I mean, I just can't say enough.
Hospice of East Texas is unique because out of my many years in this profession, this company is the first company that I've ever worked for that we have a job to do, yes, and we do it well, but we also take care of each other. In the midst of serving and taking care of patients and family in the communities, we take care of each other, make sure our needs are met emotionally, spiritually, whatever. We support one another, and that's hard to find in a job, career, whatever you do for a living. Thank you. It's a privilege. You know, every time I start a new week, I think, wow, I can't believe I work here. And that's, you can't explain that.
I had one patient's wife said, Butch, this is your calling. And at first I really didn't know how to take that because, like I said, the only thing I ever knew was refinery work. And to come into a person's home and to see the last days of their loved ones' lives, and then to say, this is your calling, maybe she was right.